Julia is with her class during calendar time at the beginning of the day. She has her iPod Touch in her hand with the communication app open and ready to go. When the teacher asks the class what day it is, Julia independently navigates to the calendar folder in her communication app and taps out the message, "Today is February 1st, 2021. All the teachers and staff in Julia's class are so proud of what a good communicator Julia has become. But the assistive technology team member visiting the classroom that morning is a little bit concerned by what she sees. Later that evening, Julia is at home watching the basketball game with her family. The family's favorite team, the Core, is playing their rival team, the Fringe. Julia's dad cheerfully calls out, "Cheer on our team, Julia!" She dutifully opens up the communication app on her iPod and taps out the message, "Let's go Core!" Everyone in the family cheers. Julia's brother says, "What's the best team in the league, Julia?" To which she again responds, "Let's go Core!" Everyone in the family is so proud of how Julia communicates with her iPod, but her visiting aunt, who just happens to be an SLP, has a few concerns about what she sees. So these two stories paint a picture of a child who has learned to independently use her communication device to respond to the people around her. Most people would be thrilled to see a child using an AAC device so effectively. So why were both the assistive technology team member and the SLP aunt concerned by the way they observed Julia using her communication app? They were concerned because they understood the difference between communicating and responding. And what concerned them was that they only saw Julia using her AAC device to respond to prompts and commands from people around her, rather than truly communicating with them. So what is the difference between communicating and responding? And why is it important to understand the difference? Communicating is sharing your personal thoughts and feelings with someone else. So for example, in this picture, the student is sharing his personal excitement about the new superhero movie that's coming out. Responding is sharing information in direct response to a prompt or question. So for example, in this picture, the teacher is asking a question about the weather and the student is giving an expected answer. Julia gave great responses when she was prompted by her teachers and her family. She knew exactly which messages to communicate when she was prompted to give the date or to say which basketball team was the best. But what Julia didn't fully understand yet was how to share her own authentic thoughts and feelings with others whenever and wherever she felt like it. When it came to using her AAC device, Julia was becoming a highly accomplished responder, but she still had a long ways to go to become a true communicator. Now, before you walk away from this video with the idea that teaching children to respond to prompts and commands with their AAC system is bad, I want to make clear that responding and communicating are both important skills. In school and at home, most children do a healthy bit of both communicating and responding every single day. It's important to realize, however, that responding to a prompt is not the same thing as truly communicating your personal thoughts and feelings. If we only teach children to respond to questions and prompts, then we are not fully preparing them to become successful and independent adults. So let's talk for a minute about why learning to be a true communicator is so important as we get older. As we all know, children will eventually grow up and leave the school system. Before they reach adulthood, we strive to prepare them for a successful future in which they can explore new environments and interact with new people. We hope that they will be prepared to experience meaningful community involvement and employment as they grow into adulthood. While many skills are important for community involvement and employment, perhaps the most important are communication skills. Knowing how to truly communicate your thoughts and feelings allows you to influence and interact with the world around you. It also allows you to make connections with others in ways that responding alone cannot. In addition, more and more research is showing that quality of life, including physical and mental health, is directly linked to the quality and quantity of our relationships with others. We want children to learn to communicate so that they can create and nurture meaningful relationships throughout their lives. Children with speech difficulties often don't learn how to communicate their thoughts and feelings because they've never had a reliable way to practice this important skill before. They've watched people around them communicate their personal thoughts and feelings through speech their whole lives, but they've probably never seen true communication happen with an AAC system before. If you have watched our other AAC training videos, you will have already been introduced to the concept of the language development pyramid. If not, hold on tight because here's a lightning quick overview. As this diagram shows, before children can become independent communicators, they must first build up a strong base of receptive language experiences, which means they need to hear and see the people around them use AAC to communicate their thoughts and feelings. After children have had lots of opportunities to hear and see the people around them communicate using AAC, they can start to express their own thoughts and feelings with their AAC system as well. As their receptive and expressive language experiences with AAC grow, a child's language pyramid develops until eventually they become independent communicators, which is of course our ultimate goal. The best way to model true communication to children is to just talk to them naturally using your voice and the AAC system together. Talk to them just like you would any other person, while remembering to point to pictures on the AAC device as you talk. Children need to see what it looks like to use AAC when you're truly just talking about anything and everything. It's okay if they don't respond at first when you talk to them. They're still learning what true communication looks like by watching you model it to them. So what can you talk to them about? Well, you could talk to them about your thoughts and feelings. You could say, "I feel so happy today," or "That video really makes me laugh." You could talk to students about their thoughts and feelings. You could say, "Oh, you look tired this morning. I'm sorry." You could share your experiences, like we went to the park this weekend and it was so much fun until it started to rain. You could ask students about their experiences, like, "What did you guys do this weekend?" And it's always good to remember that it can be easier to talk to students if you have fun and interesting things around you to talk about, such as games, toys, videos, pictures, jokes, stories, whatever, just fun things to be able to talk about. So now you know the best way to teach children how to communicate their personal, authentic thoughts and feelings is by modeling this skill ourselves. We can do this in lots of ways, but doing so effectively will probably require that we get out of teacher mode, or parent/caregiver mode, and just talk to our children rather than always giving prompts and commands or always just anticipating their needs. We can take a short break from the typical routine for a few minutes to share our own thoughts and feelings, and then invite them to respond with their own. These authentic conversations are often the best way for children to learn real communication skills in real-life settings. Remember, children need a strong base of hearing and seeing us communicate using speech and AAC in order for them to start to develop the skill themselves. Just talking with children might feel wasteful or even irresponsible to you. It might feel like you're not really teaching or you're not really parenting if you're just jabbering on to them about whatever. First of all, please know that it's natural to feel that way. If just talking to children feels unnatural, wasteful, or even irresponsible to you, it might be helpful to consider the following points. First, children with speech difficulties haven't had the chance to practice just talking with the people around them like their peers have. They need to get opportunities to practice using their AAC system to just talk, the same way the other kids in their school and family have been practicing since they were little by just talking with their voice. Also, even when children with speech difficulties have learned to use an AAC system to get some of their wants and needs met, like selecting which snack they want, or choosing what they want to do for a break or have for a reward, they probably don't know yet how to use the AAC system to share their thoughts and feelings. It's important to recognize that expressing wants and needs is not necessarily the same thing as expressing thoughts and feelings. They're both super important, but they're different. And also, using an AAC system for true communication, which is of course sharing your own thoughts and feelings, is not a skill children will just pick up on their own. Once again, they need to first watch other people around them do it before they can start doing it themselves. They need to watch us first. So let's be real. Once you start just talking with children using your voice and the AAC system, you're probably going to have some really awkward moments modeling true communication with some children. You may feel like you're talking to yourself for months on end, and that can be pretty rough. But that's okay if it feels awkward. It's just a natural part of learning to communicate with AAC. Don't forget that you're helping to teach children a critically important skill. So my best advice for you is just to suck it up and embrace the awkward, baby. Also, don't forget to be patient with yourself and your children while you're both learning together to develop communication skills. Remember that communication is messy and it takes time to learn. Please have realistic expectations about the long, slow grind of building a child's language pyramid one experience at a time. Keep in mind that you would never stop giving a child food and water even though their physical growth is extremely gradual. So let's never give up on feeding them lots of good receptive language experiences either, even if their language development is even more gradual than their physical growth and development. So another way to teach children the power of true communication is through child-directed activities. Child-directed activities can be a powerful and fun way to teach children that they can use their AAC system to communicate their feelings and influence their environment. Child-directed activities can also give you and your child lots more to talk about, both during and after the activity. These child-directed activities can be simple or complex, they can be short or long. You're really only limited by your imagination. If your imagination needs a bit of a kickstart, however, consider starting with one of the following activities. If your child is in a wheelchair, you could push them in the chair and then let them give commands using their AAC system like go faster, or turn left, or spin around, or stop you fool. When reading out loud to them, let them use their AAC system to choose the voice. It could be a scary voice, a silly voice, a funny accent. You could be building the block tower and let the child use the AAC system to choose the next block size or shape or color, and most importantly, when to knock that puppy down. You could also do other things like play Simon Says or other verbal games and let them get in on the action with their AAC system. The whole goal of child-directed activities is that children are not merely responding to adults and peers, but they get to be in charge for a change. How powerful is that? Okay, so let's review what we've learned in this video. First, responding is giving an expected message in response to a prompt or command. Communicating is sharing your own unique thoughts and feelings whenever you feel like it. Both responding and communicating are super important, but don't fall into the trap of thinking that a child is a communicator just because they can give appropriate responses when prompted. True communication skills help children control and interact with their world, make connections with others, and prepare them for successful community involvement and employment as an adult. Children with communication difficulties have probably never had the chance to practice communicating their own authentic thoughts and feelings before using an AAC system. They need to see and hear the people around them model how to do it before they can start to practice it themselves. The best way to teach true communication using AAC is to just talk naturally to children using speech and AAC. You might have to get out of parent or teacher mode sometimes to just talk to them while modeling on their communication system. Don't forget to embrace the awkward, be patient, and don't give up, even if progress is incredibly gradual. And child-directed activities can be a powerful way to help children realize that they can use AAC to influence their world, and they create great experiences you can talk about later. Okay, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video about the important difference between communicating and responding. We hope you enjoyed it and you will modify the way you interact with children who use AAC as a result of what you've learned today. Please check out the other videos on our channel, including our AAC training series, as well as other videos about communication and AAC. Thanks so much for your time. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.